I'm going live. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We'll go ahead and start over. This is Wayne with Locksmith Live, and I've got Chris with Lockjaw Manufacturing. How's it going?
Doing pretty good, man.
Good.
Good.
Getting some weather this evening.
Yeah. We got a little early snow front, so we shut down early for the day on the locksmith front. So it's a good time to work on the other side of the business.
Nice. Well, a lot of people already know your product, but there are some people that don't. So for those that don't, go ahead and tell us about it.
So my name is Chris Huffstetler. I am the owner, proprietor, creator of Lockjaw Manufacturing. It is a locksmith-centric lifestyle apparel. Yep, there you go. That was one of our first designs. So everything we do is about locks, keys, lock picking, lock sport, locksmithing. I kind of like to consider us as the art department of the industry.
That's
what we, yeah.
Yeah, you're bringing a flavor, a spice to an ancient industry, and I really like that. And just the unique designs that you have. Can you tell us about some of your inspiration? Obviously, you've got a few things behind you that we can tell that there's a lot of
as
video
you can see,
games.
I'm a big fan of animation and video games. That was kind of my childhood. I grew up in the 90s on the California coast, and if you know anything about that culture, it was a lot of skateboarding, a lot of surfing or rollerblading, and that entire subculture was just packed with art. Every skateboard had its own style of graphics and surfboards, and even today you go to a skate shop and you'll see all these different types of designs and graphics. I mean, the sport is one thing, but the art of it is a whole nother thing. And that was something I grew up with as a kid, and I just kind of carried on.
Right. Yeah. You'd always be waiting for the next skateboard deck to come out. And, we started seeing a lot of clothing brands adapt that. Yep. We had, I can't even remember all of the different ones, but I certainly remember shopping and picking up, Element and
you got your DCs and Osiris, all that
Osiris. Stuff. Yeah. A lot of Tony Hawk stuff. Whoever your favorite skater was, you couldn't wait to go pick up their new board, and they'd have a new board every couple of months if they want a demo or something. Really, really cool. And everybody wanted that. That culture followed that artwork. So it took action sports, which was, blowing up in the 90s and early 2000s. And then it really kind of made it mainstream, and everybody kind of put their own funk on it, and that was the art behind it. So that's where a lot of your stuff comes from. I also noticed a lot of, it seems like, anime or Asian influence as well.
So a lot of stuff with video games, you're going to see that again, the 80s, 90s and stuff, because almost all video games and all those things came from Japan and Asia in that era. And things have changed a lot in the last couple of years, but that was just a big impact. If you were in one of those things, you're into all of them. That was kind of a package bundle. If you played games and watched anime when you were a kid in the 90s, you already knew all this stuff. All of it just kind of came together.
Absolutely. No, that's really, really cool. So I've got some products from you, and I want to talk about this lockpick case here.
So the Book of Secrets. Yes, that is a very, very, it took a while to produce it and design it, but I think it turned out well.
When I got this thing and I looked at it, I'm like, this looks like something a Navy SEAL should be storing rations in or something. I'm like, this is not just a normal case. And I'm not just saying that. Like, here's my old Milwaukee case, and here's how much I like your stuff. Mr. Milwaukee, traded in that for this because it's more heavy duty, and it actually holds all of the things that I need it to hold a whole lot better. I got little pockets for my leashy tools. Yep. You can put regular lock picks or whatever in there. Yep. And then it folds open. It actually protects my stuff a whole lot better than the other case did. So
obviously, as a locksmith, we have a great opportunity to see what's used. And when we started developing that case last year, I took all my cases out. I took them all out, even the broken ones, and I looked at all these. I said, these are all okay in their own rights, but what is the one unifying thing? That space is important. They're usually really short, and the material was huge. we went through, I think, 5 different types of canvas before we settled on that 1680 ballistic, because it just weather resistant, UV resistant, mildew resistant. You can throw off a cliff and then pick it back up and it'll still be in good shape.
I mean, just the name of a ballistic resistance. That is
Yeah.
bullets.
I wouldn't. I'm going to advocate now. Don't use it claiming.
I'm not claiming it's bulletproof, but that it has that feel and that vibe to it. Like I said, it just feels like something that the military would be using, for crying out loud. That's why I was like, this thing is overbuilt.
Exactly. And that was the idea, is anything that we produce is thoroughly field tested by myself, other locksmiths. I sent to people like you, other people we know are going to use it every day.
I am known for breaking things. I break almost everything that I come in contact with. And when I got these stickers from you actually, this was kind of the Kraken, goes back to some influence from one of my truck builds. So we built a F-350 ambulance, a diesel ambulance, into a locksmith rig. And we were coming up and just kind of, you kind of stepped up and just said, hey man, here's some cool ideas, with the Kraken and the octopus guy. And I mean, I stuck this on here a year ago, and this tumbler mug goes through the dishwasher. It falls out of the truck. I kick it. I don't know how I haven't lost it. It's actually the only one that I haven't lost. But the sticker, there's no way it's coming off of here. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure it'd be wrecked in a couple of washes, but it
Every
really
sticker
does.
We make, we'll design it obviously, and then we'll produce it like a small batch. I will stick those on my vehicle and drive around in the cold, the hot, the snow, the ice. And then after about 6 months, I'll say, okay, how does it look? Does it fade? Is it peeling anywhere? When that is good, then I say, okay, we can go ahead and sell it. And that's just a huge thing for us. Is yes, as a locksmith, it's important, but at the same time is, if I'm going to be saying to other people in our industry, this is a good product, I stand behind it, I better damn well mean it.
Yeah, exactly. And putting it on a vehicle, obviously, in climates like where you are and where I am, it's cold, it's rainy, it's icy, it's hot. It's going to be, if you took the gun out in the summertime, the heat gun, and tested it, it'd be 150 degrees in the hot summer on a black surface. And then in the winter, it gets down to 19 below. And then it goes through the car wash, and nothing looks tackier than a faded, crappy sticker.
It's UV laminate, it's 3M adhesive. I mean, the only thing up from that's going to be probably a government issue style where it's made for an aircraft, Right. That's like the next step up for it.
Wow.
It's a bad idea. We might actually do that. That's a good one. But that safe Kraken design got a lot of it was pretty. I had several people message me and say, hey, can I get that tattooed? And as someone that I've owned a tattoo shop before, and I know that you can't really tell people no, because they pull up.
They're going to do it. Yeah,
they're going to do it. So I said, that's fine, but make sure you tag us and let me see it, because I want to see how good it turned out.
Did you get a tag? Did you get a tag? Does somebody have a Kraken tattoo?
No, as strange as this sounds, you've met me in person. I have a lot of tattoos, and I have not yet gotten anything for Lockjaw yet on anywhere. And I've thought about it, and obviously we have a lot of designs to pick from. I haven't done it yet, and it's one thing I probably need to be doing soon.
You got to do your logo. Come on, that's got to be one of the first ones. You put a lot of time and effort into that. You got to put your logo on there somewhere.
Well, there was a lock shop down in Florida that really loved the safe crack, and they said, hey, can we buy this logo to put on shirts? And I said, no, but we'll make you another one. So we made them another version of it, nothing nearly as least what I consider to be as good as the original, but they were so infatuated with that design. Being that they're a nautical shop, they're in a nautical area down there in Florida. They work on safes exclusively. They're like, this is the perfect fit for us. I said, you guys are about a year too late, because it's kind of already gone somewhere else.
I've never even heard of this or talked about it. That's your design. You sent it to me. I mean, by all means, if you want to sell that to somebody, I don't own it. I just kind of I was trying to come up with something, and I always try and make my trucks really individualized. Like I got to get motivated. You know how long it takes to set up and customize? I mean, obviously, you know how long it takes to set up and customize a vehicle.
Months.
You have to pour your heart and soul into it. I would get off work, or not really get off work. I would wrap up my day at, 6, 7 o'clock. And I would literally drive to my shop. I painted the ambulance black all myself. I had to set everything up, gut everything out, bolt all the new stuff in, wire in power inverters. I mean, you just
And that's if
hours.
the cold's not stopping you, or the heat's not stopping you. That's if the weather's good enough to be in there.
Well, luckily I had the convenience of having a shop. So we were able to do it indoors at that time. But I just have to motivate myself. And so I built beast mode just because that was the mode that I was in. I mean, beast mode to me means I'm running calls 20, just killing it, just 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week. I'm stacking up 12, 15 service calls in a day, and I'm in just beast mode is on. I'm just kicking ass. That's what I'm doing. So
funny that we all seem to have this notion. We always name our vehicles, whether it's a classic name I call Betty. My first van was the Albino Rhino, and it was just an old 98 Dodge B2500 van. And that thing lasted me about 2 years. And I remember when I first started it, I had no heater. I had no AC. So I'm driving around in the Pacific Northwest winter with no heater, with a blanket on me, just trying to make it work. Because, when you're a small business person, you do what you have to do. So I was just saving up all my money for a new van. Then I moved on to the White Whale, which was my GMC. And now I have the Vanilla Gorilla, which is my Ford, and I love it. Vanilla Gorilla.
I guess that was inspired by some hip hop, maybe.
I've heard it a few times, but since the accident happened back in April, I've gone through and redone a lot of the work, electrical. So now its new name is the Thunder Whale Mark II. That is the new name of the van, because it has all the inverters and the high-end batteries, and it's really well done electronically. I can put every single piece of equipment on, and it works still fully, no issues.
Wow, that's amazing. That's totally awesome. So yeah, when I was building Kraken, I was like, man, this thing, it's a big, huge square box. And everybody told me, they're like, it looks like a safe. It looks like a safe rolling down the road. So I was like, well, how can I use that? And I was like, I like, when I was a kid, I was like you like video games and stuff. I was always into like mythical creatures and, Greek gods and all that stuff. It was pretty cool for me. So I was like, oh, the Kraken, safe Kraken, safe cracker, crick. Yeah. Oh, okay. Got it. Safe Kraken. Awesome. And now when I hand out cards or that van or that truck rolls up and down the road, it's a rolling billboard. I literally get people calling me. They're like, I'm staring at your truck and it is just so cool. They don't even want anything. They're just like, it looks so cool. We wanted to call you and tell you it's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, going back to what you mentioned about the logos and stuff, it's yes, you can give it and sell and stuff like that. But I've noticed and this is a whole new world for me in the last couple of years with intellectual property and art and stuff like that, is if you
Unfortunately, it looks like we got a little delay going on.
It's gonna wind up somewhere across the world over the internet,
Right. Sorry, you froze up for just a second. I don't know why my internet's doing this. I don't know if it's on my end or what, but you froze up again for 1 second. So that, I mean, this whole thing with customization is just right up your alley. And really, I mean, the cat's meow has to be the pinning mat. If there's one thing that I would say you guys just killed it and knocked it out of the park and made something that I literally use every day. Like, look at this thing. It's dirty. Why is it dirty? Because I use it, right? I use it every single day. Yep. The squares are actually large enough so that I can pick things out of there instead of the little nubs. The little nubs don't work. They just trap pins in there. I don't need pinning tweezers to have to pull my pins out of my pinning mat.
See what happens when a person that uses pinning mats designs a pinning mat. It is a revolutionary idea. And I know it's not really talked a lot about, but the companies that make the pinning mats overseas, oh, you left. The companies that, there it is.
It glows in the dark.
A little bit. So that was something, there you go. So that was something that last minute, I just decided we should try it, and it worked wonderfully. What
made you want to put the glow in the dark feature to it? What possibly could have been running through your mind? Just, hey, this would be really cool.
Because we have all these cool graphics on there. And I thought, you know what? I wonder how that would look if it glowed in the dark. And it's a nice big set of teeth and it looks cool. And I was like, Lockjaw, obviously that's in line with what we do. It's teeth, it's monstrous. But, I said, that'd be kind of cool if you open up your van or your, your rig or whatever it is you got, and you open up the door and you have this nice, cool glow in the dark teeth right there. And when we tested it and I put it in my van, I came out the next day, opened the door. I was like, that is badass. Holy crap. So we just went with it.
Yeah, no, I
Well.
love it. I didn't even know that it glowed in the dark until I did the same thing. I set it all up in my truck and I was like, all right, cool. And then I came out the next morning and it was dark out still. And I'm like, is that thing glow? Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Nice surprise, right? I mean, you don't expect it, but it's a nice. I think we had it for about 2 months. I want to see how durable it was for the glow. And it's like, no, it worked really good. No issues.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great. So tell us about some of the other products that you got coming up, or maybe some stuff coming down the pipeline. Obviously, if you've got things that you can't talk about, we definitely respect that.
Yes and no. We're always looking at new designs. We're always trying to do stickers, and those are always fun. But originally, the original name of the company was just going to be Lockjaw Sticker Co. That's what we were going for. I thought, hey, stickers are cool. You own a toolbox, you own a pin kit. I like to stick them all over the place. I've always done that since I've had a toolbox and, years and years ago. And then I started looking at stickers and I said, stickers are pretty cheap to make, which means there's not a lot of profit in it. I said, that's fun. But I thought, what if we did cases? What if we did mats? What if we did picks? What if we did tools? What if we did this and all this other stuff? So after about 6 months, we said, let's go and start doing other stuff. And so we changed the whole thing to Lockjaw Manufacturing. And from there, the stickers and designs and the shirts and the apparel and the hats and stuff like that, they're really fun and cool. But we found that the mat and the case we've released so far this year, holy cow, tremendous. People have been eating them up. I love it. Dude. And for me, that's a big thing is we make stuff that we like and we make it with quality and with love, and then everyone else loves it too. And that's the bonus.
That's really the thing. I mean, I would not be doing this interview with you if I didn't wholeheartedly see the passion and the creativity and, more importantly, the quality. Because if you have passion and creativity and you don't have quality, if you don't have all three of those things, if you drop any one of those, the whole thing falls down. Yep. And it's absolutely, it just doesn't work. You have to have that trifecta. You have to have those three key pillar elements in order to have a successful company. And you guys just nailed it out of the park.
A lot of cheap stuff.
I can't talk good enough about it, to be honest. And
I mean, it's good that it's durable, and it's good that it looks good, and it's even better that we really enjoy designing it. And like you said, that those three elements, if they're there, you can't miss.
No, and you can feel it. It just bleeds through the product itself. And that's what it takes to have a successful company these days. So I am just, I've seen you, we started talking and you sent me your first couple stickers and, you just kind of latched on to the idea I had. And you're like, man, I got some cool stuff in line for this, and you sent me some hoodies and stuff. And I was like, man, this guy is freaking creative. It works. Like I could wash it. It didn't turn into rags. This is freaking awesome.
But with the apparel, we, because you got to remember, these are people out working in the field. They're in the hot, they're in the cold, they're getting out of the van. So no white sweaters, no light colors, because that's not going to look good when it gets, Houdini or lot grease on it, whatever. It has to be comfortable. So we sent out a batch to you and a couple other people, and then we waited a few months. We said, okay, how does it look still? How does it fit still? And every reply was, it feels fantastic. It's soft. It's not, the colors aren't bleeding. And it's the same size as when we got it. So we knew that, again, we make sure it's quality. We make sure that it looks good, it feels good, it works good. And, again, we can't miss. It just felt like that was a really important thing to us. All those checklists have to be done every single time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We actually have some comments rolling in. We got about 10 people watching, and somebody says, how do I order Lockjaw products?
That is a fantastic question. Probably one we should have talked about first. So our website is www.lockjawmfg.com. If you want to take a look at the website, we're also on Instagram, Facebook, obviously. We have a TikTok we like to play around with, have some fun with, posting videos and designs and stuff like that. And hopefully soon a YouTube channel. That's something that is great segue. We're looking to have a YouTube channel eventually here in the next year.
You know, I really highly recommend anybody, if you are on any of those social platforms, obviously, you know, some people don't get too much into the social media, but you are on Facebook, you are on Instagram, you're on TikTok. What are your handles for those? Just the same thing, Lockjaw
It's
MF?
all Lockjaw Mfg. It wasn't
MFG.
apparently very widely used one, so we got them all across the board.
Yep. And our good friend Joshua Sands, we'll give a big shout out to Mr. Sand, the Sandman. He has posted a link in the comment section.
Very nice. Thank you, Josh.
This is one of the first times we've actually done one of these things live. I called this Locksmith Live, and I hope to do it more often. I hope to maybe even do it once a week. I think it's, I really want to highlight, we have so many creative, talented people in this industry, and they don't get a chance. They don't get a voice unless you're like me and you're like, hey, look at me. I'm doing stuff over here.
Yep.
You know, if you don't have that attitude, those people don't get noticed. And that's probably an excellent segue into maybe something that might not be quite as happy. I do want to go ahead and acknowledge and let people know that we did lose a brother in the community, and that would be Captain Lockpick, Brian Johnson, I believe is his name. I don't know if you have any more information about him, but he did pass away. He is no longer with us. There is a GoFundMe account. I will post a link to that. I don't know if anybody else out there that's watching, the 10 or so, 10, 11 people we have has a link to that. But Captain Lockpick, he was very, very talented individual, just learned things extremely quickly. You know, I don't know exactly what he was doing on Instagram and all these other things, but he had a tremendous following.
Yep.
He had very good creative content, and you know, it's just a loss all the way around for the entire community. So I just wanted to take 1 second and take the focus away from us and turn it on something else that's happening in the community, so that more people are aware. And if there are any people that can give to that donation, that GoFundMe account, please do. I'm sure the families, I mean, can you imagine anybody you know going through that? It would be insane.
It's never good to see a brother in arms, you know, leave this place. And he was very young, he was very bright, and he definitely was very committed to the industry with his age, and as much as he was doing with what he had, with what he had with his time. And it's, you know, it's unfortunate.
Absolutely. So like I said, just anybody, just give a little, you know, moment of silence, prayers, whatever you guys believe in, you know, this world or the next, or however you do that, send some good vibes and some good stuff to his family. Obviously taken far too soon, and we hate to have those things happen, but we definitely want to acknowledge it when it does, so that the community is aware, and we create some awareness. If anything, and I have a platform, I'd like to create awareness with the good going on in the community, and you know, some of the tragedies as well, so that people can support those causes.
Absolutely.
What else do you guys have coming down the pipe? You got new stickers? You got new
we have a couple of stickers we're working on. We're doing a whole series. We're calling, because as a locksmith, you have gone to a house, you've gone to a property, and you've looked at a situation. You said, lock gods, don't fail me now, right? You said it's up to the lock gods to make sure this happens. So you know what? We said we should do some lock gods. Why not? So you have a whole pantheon of lock gods we're working on right now, between transponders and keys and vaults and corrosion, the evil antagonists there.
Those safe gremlins will get you, buddy. They get me. Those safe gremlins are living in there. That would actually be really cool, having some little safe gremlins inside a little lock or something, or crawling out of an old safe. That'd be pretty cool.
Have you seen, there's an ad for an old, gosh, I can't remember who it was. There was an old ad, and it had the devils trying to break into the safe. And it was like, I want to say it was like early 1900s. If anyone in the comments knows which ad I'm talking about, because you probably do, it was a really old ad, and it was awesome. Maybe it was Mosler. No, it was Chubb. It was Chubb, Chubb Safes. And if you look up Chubb Safe devil advertisement,
it's Diebold.
Oh yeah, yes. That's right.
Yes,
That's
I've
right.
seen it with all the little demon guys running around.
Yes.
I
So
actually thought
every
that'd be a
time I
really
see
cool
that,
tattoo.
I would love to recreate that in some fashion, because obviously I don't want to rip their own advertising, even though it's 120 years old, but still, I
No,
thought that was
yeah,
an awesome idea.
yeah.
So we're looking at doing all kinds of cool new stuff. Obviously, with winter here, we're not really pushing t-shirts and tank tops right now. That's not a good idea unless you're in South Florida or something.
So, somebody in Florida's rocking a t-shirt
Yeah,
right
my
now.
number one customer down there, just wait, he's gonna be happy. But we're working on a project right now. We call it Project Top Hat. It's going to involve a very, very high-end pick. When I say high-end, I mean aircraft aluminum, stitched leather. We're going to use probably the most high-quality stainless we can find. They're all going to be serialized numbers, so there will be no forgeries or duplications. But this thing is to be so comfortable to use that you're going to just always prefer to use it over your rest of your picks. Obviously, that's what we would like. But it's going to be a really nice, really comfortable, really light, and super durable. Super durable matters. And it's hopefully sometime next year.
That is amazing. That's awesome. I have seen, and I'm sure you've seen them too, and maybe this would be a great resource to do some research and whatnot. But there are some knife makers that have
Yes.
made some killer picks. I
Yep.
mean, they basically just scale it down. I'm talking
Mhm.
like camel bone, turquoise dyed, like, and they forge the pick. And the whole point of forging is you're folding the steel and you're making it you're increasing the strength by the folds in it. And that is the whole point of all the forging. And technically, to be 100% honest, blacksmiths are our ancestors.
Yeah.
I mean, the very first locksmiths were blacksmiths because they had to build the lock and then they had to build the key. And that is something that a lot of people don't really know.
It wasn't
That
an ancient Egyptian Home Depot to go to. It was a lot more manufacturing.
And even before that, the blacksmiths and the carpenters had to work together to find something that would work on a door. I don't know if you've ever looked. I find going back in history is extremely entertaining, and like how they used to have custom made sticks that would fit in a hole and move
Yeah.
something over or pick up a lever or something. All of those things, and just the progression of the security industry
You look at
is
10,000 years
fascinating.
ago to now, and the concept hasn't changed all that much. You have a door, you have a means to get past it with a mechanical system. We've just kind of changed the method and the tools and stuff used. And obviously, 20,000 years from now, hopefully we're past needing locks. But yeah, it's the same mindset. You're preventing entry. And whether
Yeah.
that's on a pyramid or it's on a condo in South Florida, it hasn't changed a whole lot. And we see the artistry. And if you look at some of these really old safes where they do a lot of the filigree and stuff on the dials and all, I mean, I know you've seen a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's no way you cannot call that art to any degree. And there's an art to, and there's no major manufacturing. There wasn't a factory to say, hey, send me this reel, send me this dial. A lot of stuff was made all by hand, and it blows my mind.
Well, just think about this. They had to manufacture those wheels and threads and spindles and dials and intricate little numbers and things, and they didn't have the machining equipment that we have now. Like you had to like press things out. I don't even know how they did all of it, but they didn't have the precise mechanical machining equipment that we have now to be able to do those things. It's insane how they actually even achieved that. And not to mention, there were like the lug door safes were actually invented, and the cannonball safes that screw together or that have giant interlocking lugs. I don't know if you knew this or not, but the whole reason that they came up with that is so that they couldn't pour nitroglycerin in between the door and the safe and blow it off the hinges. They had to manufacture a 3,000-pound safe to have almost no room. Like you can't fit a piece of paper in between the two.
That is something I did not know. That is it. I always thought cannonball safes were just these ornate, beautiful things, but knowing that there's form and function and design, that's really cool.
They were designed so the cannonball safes, for anybody that doesn't know, is they had usually a square base and then they had kind of a round top. and I'm by no means an expert, but this is just what I hear because my expertise is safe work. So you get to hear around the Waterloo what some of these things are. And that was one of the things that I heard from Joe Cordy. He's one of the old school GSA guys, well retired, but interesting, fascinating person. And that's what he said, was that it was prevent the nitroglycerin. And then they were actually designed with that round top, and they were designed to be top heavy. So if you tried to wheel it out, like they had wheels, but if you hit the slightest little bump, it tips over intentionally, and it's round. You can't set it back up unless you have a forklift or a crane. And they didn't even have that stuff back then. You had to use horse and pulleys and snatch blocks and things like that to even ride it.
Well, imagine if you own a bank in Europe and it's 1820 and you need a vault or a safe. You're on a 5-year waiting list. They can't just go take one out of inventory.
Yeah.
You have a crew of people making them. We got one in France working on this. You got this guy making hinges over in Italy, and then the guy over in Spain making, the dials. And
yeah. And then they painted everything inside. They went and it was all hand painted. They didn't have vinyl graphics. Get out of here. They didn't have that. And there are a few guys that actually do restoration. That's actually a great idea for another interview. Yes. There's a guy that's always on social media, and he's always posting. I can't think of his name. I think it's Chris Tell or something. Can't think of it.
Sounds really familiar. I know there's a couple of those vault and safe restoration groups and stuff out there, and they hand paint it all back on. You see that stuff pop up, and it's like, holy cow! Like, I feel happy about doing some small stuff. These guys were like the Picassos of these safes. I'm like, wow.
It was literally all hand painted artwork on there, gold leaf on some of them. Mm-hmm. And then they would even do like tiger striping. I don't even know how they did that. I think they did it with acid and etching and things like that. But the bolt work, the straps had scrolling on them. I mean, to make one of these things, they didn't print them out and just, send 10,000 of them out, for crying out loud.
People go to big box down. They're like, oh, they don't have the safe I want. Let me go to the next big box store.
It was custom built. You sent the size, you sent how big you wanted, and they would even paint it with your company logo on there.
Yeah.
It would, like a lot of the ones we do, it's hard to identify them because they painted them as that company.
It's Chicago Midland Bank, or it's Montana Bureau of whatever.
And that was the crown jewel of the bank. I mean, they paid ludicrous amounts of money to do that. So the art shows that it has been with the industry forever, and you, my friend, are bringing it into this century, and you're doing it with style and passion.
It's nice to know we're doing something new, but at the same time, it's really not, because look at, like we just talked about, all this stuff has kind of just been sitting there silently for people to see over the years, but now we're trying to do something fun and interesting. And I think the superpower of what Lockjaw gets to do is we don't have to take ourselves seriously. Obviously we do, but if you're a distributor, you're selling locks and keys and pins and supplies and hardware, whereas we get to say, what sounds fun? What looks cool?
Right.
And we get to have a ton of fun with it, a ton of fun. And that's what I would think about.
Absolutely. That is amazing. We're coming up on about 32 minutes, and I think that's a pretty good chunk for people to kind of digest. This is the first Locksmith Live. This is our first guest. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up? And then we'll kind of let people know where to find it. And hopefully we'll find another guest for next week. I would like to make this thing a Monday night thing or a Monday morning thing.
First of all, I'm not sure how many people know this yet, but congratulations, Mr. Winton. I understand that you are now a member of the board of directors with the Associate Locksmiths of America now.
I am. Yes, it did happen. I can't get into too many details. It's really not that flattering or exciting. I mean, I do thank you for that. I just got a message and say, hey, can you step up and can you fill in? And I said, absolutely. I'm always here to do that. And that's what I'm here to do. And then I will be making my run officially to actually get voted in by the people whenever the election is. I think it comes up in May, to make everything 100% official. So if there are any other ALOA members out there, you have any questions, comments, concerns, I know it's always a topic of discussion, sometimes a hostile discussion, sometimes a friendly discussion, but I am more than happy to bring your needs to the board. You can message me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can email me, tricountylocksmithservice@gmail.com. If you can't find me, then you have a problem somewhere, because we should pop up
Right.
in the feeds on almost all those social platforms. And shoot me a message and I'll bring it to the board. I can't promise that I'll change the world, but I can promise you that I'm one of those people that doesn't just sit back and complain to complain. I bring complaints with solutions, and hopefully that will start to steer the ship in what I would consider a little bit more positive direction. And that way we don't have so many negative feelings out there.
The betterment of the industry, right?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. So by all means, making leaps and strides on all formats, and I'm just happy to serve. I'm happy to add value. I'm not here to take anything away from the organization. I'm here to serve and add value at all costs. So
fortunately, I'm not in your region, so
that's
you'd have
okay.
my vote, but
That's okay. That's okay. We'll make an official run in May, and we'll go from there. So with that, thank you so much for being my first guest. This is Locksmith Live. We're going to try and do this every Monday. I haven't decided whether morning or afternoon is going to be best, but look up my channel next week, and we will also take this recording. I'll upload it to YouTube. If you missed it and you want to catch the whole thing, it's about 35 minutes long, and it'll be up on YouTube in about an hour. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, and thank you for your artistic and creativeness. It's absolutely appreciated.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Have a good night.